Today we're going to talk about Jaqualyn Crawford and two LSU defensive backs in the transfer portal and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Do not sweat the clothes. I have to go to a celebrity golf event and sit by a hole and watch other people play golf. We're also going to be doing the radio show from the Patriot in Owasso if you want to come through. But I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about Mannie Netherly and Kelvin Joseph and Jaqualyn Crawford because Netherly made headlines when he announced that he had entered the transfer portal on Monday, and that makes him the second LSU defensive back to enter the portal in the last month. Ed Orgeron was saying, hey man, I try to talk these kids out of going into the portal. I understand that every situation is different. I understand that everybody has their side. I understand that everybody wants to play. But I think the portal is a bad idea because I think that kids should have to fight it out because things aren't always going to break your way and yada, 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 coach speak, coach speak, coach speak. I want it my way. I understand why coaches have this line of thinking because it's a business decision that they're making. I need to have more talent to win more football games. But as the guy who's making millions of dollars to coach football and the guy who doesn't have 5 years to play for, I don't really go with your side on this one. I go with the kids most of the time because they just want to play. And you could say that they're running from competition. All right, cool. But why wouldn't you if you have an opportunity to go somewhere and play with least competition? Look, it's like fair market versus capital market versus business, all right? We all want competition in capitalism because it makes for better products. It makes for better situations for consumers. We are forced to go at each other so that the person that is the benefactor is the consumer. But you also see people go into what was called a soft spot in the market where there isn't a lot of competition, where they can dominate. And in dominating, they build up their own capacity for what is going to be ensuing competition, right? Like if you are a grocery store owner and you open a grocery store in a part of town where there isn't a grocery store, you ain't gonna have a lot of competition. But nobody's gonna look at you and say that you were running from competition because there's a Walmart and a Sam's and a friggin' HEB like any other part of town. That's not what they're gonna say. They're gonna say you made a sound business decision because you wanna go make some money. I see that as being the same thing for these football players, in particular the guys at LSU who spits out defensive backs like Oklahoma spits out quarterbacks. It's become DBU. Between them and Ohio State, you're going to have some of the best defensive back play outside of Alabama, right? And because you have more opportunities to play defensive back in college football than you do quarterback, I understand the move. What I don't necessarily understand is all of, the reasoning that goes into these departures because I thought Kelvin Joseph would have been out of the portal by now and announced a decision to go somewhere. And I think that Mannie Netherly is going to have the same opportunities to come out of the portal and go somewhere. Kelvin Joseph was a guy that came out of the 2018 class. Netherly is a guy that came out of 2017 class. Both of those guys can absolutely play football. And then when you're looking at what Alex Grinch wants to do and how much of it is dependent on having good defensive back play, you saw him go look at Jaqualyn Crawford and say, that guy's here. Maybe he wants to play some defensive back because the wide receiver depth chart at Oklahoma is kind of deep. And he went to a place where, guess what? There's not a whole lot of competition or as much as they want because you got Buki, you got Chance Silva, and then you got a true freshman perhaps in Jeremiah Cradell. And now Jaqualyn Crawford. You want to be able to fill it out because coaches want to have as many players as they possibly can to create competition, also to cover up their depth. I was also interested to see if Alex Grinch would go after this guy or any of these guys in the LSU, from LSU that jumped into the portal, but it doesn't seem to be what he wants to do. It seems like he's fully comfortable with what he has or as comfortable as he's going to be. So as much as folks would love to see an LSU defensive back jump in the transfer portal and jump out at Oklahoma, I don't think that's going to be the case. However, I do want to just acknowledge that it's only coach speak, right? It's not really going after what's best for a kid. You might think that what's best for a kid is for him to stay with you, but you would anyway. You wouldn't have recruited him if you didn't think this was the best place for him or for you. It's all governing dynamics. It's all game theory. It's all doing what's best for yourself in the group. And when those things don't line up, you try to find a situation where they do. I also want to just put it into the back of your head that whatever you see against Houston, whatever you see Oklahoma's defense look like, it ain't going to be what you want it to be. Okay, you're always going to want something else. And if you ever get to where you can see a defense that is on par with LSU, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, not Ohio State. Insert good defense here. You're probably going to do the same thing that other folks are doing, which is saying, I want to hold on to all my guys because I want to be really good. Don't be the pompous guy who's yelling, hey, we don't need them, next man up. I hate that saying because it does devalue what is really a great player, or at least at Oklahoma or LSU or any name brand school, a great player. And all those kids want to do is play. You only get 85 scholarship kids on a roster each year. You only get 25 spots to give away in each class. Every kid playing Power 5 football is a really great football player. Just necessarily in the best situation for him or his skill set, unless he is, and we know all about those guys because they win awards and they go play in the NFL. So I come down on it going, do what's best for yourself. And then if that lines up with the team, cool, go all in on the team because there are rules involved here and we can all think about this with some nuance, all right? All right, that's it for me. I'm going to go to a golf outing. Deuces.